I was actually going to touch on when you talked about culture. And I think one of the biggest reasons that fraud does exist within businesses is the culture. Um, I know some businesses will say, "Hey, we've trained our employees, to combat this type of fraud," but their training is a 20-minute video once a year, or it's a piece of paper on the corkboard. I've actually seen that. Say somebody were trained them, and the piece of paper was on the corkboard right next to the person as I was talking to them and say, "Hey, did you see this piece of paper before you got victimized?" And they said, "I didn't know it was there."
They weren't
So
wearing letters on their chests like they are in El Paso. That's not
no.
good. No, no.
So it is a cultural thing, and it also goes to the point of if someone does feel something is wrong, is the culture good enough to where someone can question it and not feel like they're going to get some kind of repercussion if they question it? Like I would love a CEO or CFO to say, "I'm glad you questioned whether or not it was legitimate, because I know you're doing your job. I know you're following your policy. I know you're adhering to the training that you've received." So I think the culture change would have to be
Mhm.
the biggest thing. And then I was going to give you scary story number two,
Oh, all right.
because you spoke of the executive impersonations, and I over the past year, most of my social engineering scams have been either an executive impersonation or some level of someone of authority, whether it be a director, a fire department, law enforcement, and it's not an email compromise. It's usually a phishing, which is voice phishing, or a smishing, or a text message, or a combination of both. And they're not tricking the person into sending an email or sending a payment. They're tricking the person into walking out of your business with cash in hand and delivering it to somebody. Um, I've seen that very often.
Like a
So it
duffel
doesn't matter.
bag full of money?
Oh, a duffel bag. I've seen someone walk out with cash in hand, just walked out with a handful of cash. So, but they're being told that, hey, you're talking to the CEO or the CFO or director, and we need you to make this payment to a lawyer, a fire department. Otherwise, they're going to shut us down. And the employee is so afraid that something bad will happen, they go forward with it, not fearing the repercussions of it.